Hello, I'm John Stamps, Lead Information Developer at BMC Software. This video series describes how to install the CLM small deployment on the Windows operating system. Each video in this series will go through every major panel in the installer. We'll also include helpful tips as they are needed. By default, BMC designed the CLM install planner to be quite robust. If the installer crashes or a target host crashes, the installer remembers the last state you were in. In addition, to keep you from shooting yourself in the foot, the installer forces you to install the CLM products in a very strict sequence of product dependencies. The entire CLM stack depends upon the AR system server, so the installer starts with it first. When you finish installing the AR system server, the installer loads the next product in the sequence, that is, the mid-tier. After the mid-tier is finished, then the installer loads HRM Core Web Services. And after HRM Core Web Services are finished, then the installer loads BMC Server Automation, and so on. Before you start installing, here are some important best practices that you should follow. Take every single snapshot or backup when you are prompted to do so by the installer. That way, if you encounter a problem, you can revert to the latest snapshot, troubleshoot the problem, and then proceed on your merry way. Make sure that you fulfill all the prerequisites and the system requirements on your installer host and your target VMs. Before I begin installing, I run through the install checklist very carefully that I carefully documented. For example, on Windows, use gpedit and regedit to update the terminal services. Make sure that the installer host can connect to the target hosts and that the target hosts can connect to the installer host. And once again, all of these requirements are carefully documented. It's always a good idea to review the known issues to avoid potential problems later during installation. And finally, fill out the Windows planning spreadsheet. We'll talk more about that later. And also, we created a separate spreadsheet for Linux installations. Now we're going to prepare the target VM that we're going to install BMC Server Automation on. First of all, we're going to run the gpedit utility so that we don't delete any temporary folders when we exit the session. From the Start menu, access the Run command. Type in gpedit.msc and click OK. We're now going to navigate to the section for temporary folders. Start with Computer Configuration, Administrative Templates, Windows Components, Remote Desktop Services, Remote Desktop Session Host, and Temporary Folders. Go up to the Do Not Delete Temporary Folders Upon Exit setting and enable it. Next, go to the Do Not Use Temporary Folders Per Session setting and set it to Enabled. Now we're going to run the regedit utility so that we don't delete any temporary folders there as well. Go to the Start menu, click the Run command, and enter regedit. Use the following path to navigate: H key local machine, system, current control set, control, terminal server, and then once you're in this directory, open the delete temporary directories upon exit, set the value data to 0, and click OK. Then open the per session temporary directory, make sure the value data is set to 0, and click OK. Now we're going to make sure that we can connect the target host to the installer host. You need to verify that your network is all nicely connected together. So open up a command prompt, and what we're going to do now is ping the installer host. We need to ping the installer host to determine that TCP/IP is working properly. Now we need to verify that we can connect to the file systems on the other hosts. We're going to connect to the file system on the installer host. Open the Windows Explorer and enter the path to the installer host. And there it is. If you cannot ping the installer host or connect to the file system, you are doomed from the start. The installation will not work. I've encountered all kinds of weird problems, and some of them are self-inflicted, like I didn't turn off the firewalls on the VMs. But some issues I can't fix myself. I've had to call the help desk to restore connectivity between hosts. Now here is the last piece of advice we're going to give today. Remember to fill out your planning spreadsheet. These links in the spreadsheet go to each of the tabs in the spreadsheet. We carefully documented every single prompt in the Windows installer. To fill out this spreadsheet, you might need some help from your database admin or your system admin to get some of this information. But the important thing is when you're running through the installer, you don't want to make any guesses about what you're entering into the installer fields. In the next video, we're going to show you how to launch the installer. Thank you very much.